Hi everyone, how are you doing? I wish you're doing fine, you're feeling fine, you're enjoying your time, you know what I mean? And enjoying the new year, you know what I mean? I know that this video, you know what I mean? People, they will watch it, you know what I mean? Many people, they will watch it later, you know what I mean? In future, you know what I mean? You got me? After the new year, you know what I mean? I'm talking now, you know what I mean? In the beginning of the new year, you know what I mean? 2025, the new year of 2025, you know what I mean? Now, you know what I mean? I want to wish Happy New Year for everyone, you know what I mean? You got me, and keep enjoying your time, and you know what I mean? Keep nailed it, and yeah, you know what I mean? That's, you know what I mean? What I want to say, and yeah, I want to introduce myself, you know what I mean? You got me, you know what I mean? In this video, and talk about myself, and in this video I want to talk about my story, you know what I mean? My story, you know what I mean? Everything about me, you know what I mean? And this channel, you know what I mean? You got me? The purpose of this channel, and yeah, you know what I mean? Who am I, you know what I mean? As a person, you know what I mean? Everything about me, you know what I mean? So that people, they understand me, you know what I mean? And they understand, you know what I mean? What's happening in this channel, you know what I mean? And they discover the truth about my identity, you know what I mean? You catch me? And they just go with me in this journey, and in the same time they're not like, oh, I don't know what you're doing. They know what's happening and everything, you know what I mean? So I will talk about my story, you know what I mean? My story, and yeah, you know what I mean? First, I want to introduce myself, you know what I mean? My name is Jesus, you know what I mean? You got me? My name is Jesus. When I was born, my family, they gave me the name of Zachariah. That's the name that I lived, you know what I mean? My life, let's say 30 years having the name of Zachariah, you know what I mean? People, they call me Zachariah. But just, you know what I mean? Lately, I mean, 1 year ago, you know what I mean? Something happened, you know what I mean? And my name is Jesus, you know what I mean? That's my name, you know what I mean? You got me, you know what I mean? My name is Jesus, and I have 31 years old. And I am Moroccan, you know what I mean? I am Moroccan, and I live in Morocco. And what I do in my life, I am coach of seduction, you know what I mean? I do seduction, and I learned seduction from I was young, and yeah, you know what I mean? I teach seduction. That's, you know what I mean? Very quickly to introduce myself, you know what I mean? Now, what is my story? You know what I mean? Why I'm doing what I'm doing? What is my story? You know what I mean? Why I started this channel? You know what I mean? You got me? What I mean? So, yeah, the story, it started in 2020. That's the beginning of the story. What happened? What happened is me, because I'm coach of seduction, I was trying to seduce some girls, you know what I mean, in 2020. And I remember a girl, her name is Olga Shmirchuk, you know what I mean? Olga Shmirchuk. She's originally from Ukraine, you know what I mean? But, you know what I mean? She's German, you know what I mean? I mean, originally she's Ukraine, but also she's German, you know what I mean? You got me, what I mean? So, yeah, you know what I mean? So that's, you know what I mean? She lives in Germany, and, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? She's blonde, and I will, you know what I mean? Show people her picture, you know what I mean? In the end of the video, you know what I mean? catch me? You see her because, you know what I mean, she's so important in this story. You know what I mean? Olga Smirchuk, you know what I mean? She's so important, you know what I mean? So Olga Smirchuk, this girl, you know what I mean? You catch me? You know what I mean? In that time she has 20 years, 21, something like that, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? And me, in that time, I had 27, you know what I mean? 27, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that, you know what I mean? Something like that. So, yeah, what happened is I saw her Facebook, you know what I mean? And I saw her pictures, and I sent her a message, you know what I mean? A message, vocal message. Hi, my name is blah blah blah, I have blah 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 years, this, introduce myself, you know what I mean? She responded to me in story, you know what I mean? Story, you know what I mean? I talked in those vocals, like you could say, for 5 minutes, something like that, you know what I mean? I introduced myself. She responded to me in story, you know what I mean? When she responded to me in story, I like it, and I kept talking to her, you know what I mean? And she didn't respond to me in any message. She didn't do scene to my message. No, you know what I mean? You catch me? She didn't reply to me, you know what I mean? And she just replied to me in stories, not message, not direct message, you know what I mean? Catch me? In fact, she didn't see my message now, you know what I mean? When I was talking to her, she didn't see my message, you know what I mean? You catch me? What I mean? So the question, if she saw the message in some other way without showing me that, that's something else. But she didn't do scene to my message, but she responded to me in story and direct message, not oh hi Zachary in story, no, and direct message in story. And direct message means that she's talking to everyone normally, to her fans or to her, you know what I mean? Olga Smirchuk, she's not that famous, you know what I mean? She's a dancer, you know what I mean? She's a dancer, she's not that famous, you know what I mean? Because she's not that famous, but she has her fans in dancing because she do videos of dancing in YouTube, but she's not famous, you know what I mean? She doesn't has many people, you know what I mean? She do videos and that's it, you know what I mean? Catch what I mean? So yeah, the people that you know what I mean, they watch her, they follow her, I mean, you know what I mean? She's talking to them in story. It's normal story, like, you know what I mean, your daily life story. But and direct message, I will just, me only, I will understand that message, you know what I mean? You got me? It's like she's welcoming me, you know what I mean? Something like that. So that's what happened. And direct message, me, I kept sending other messages, even if she didn't reply to me directly. I keep sending vocals, you know what I mean? Talking about what I like in food, what I like in music, what I like in movies, and that's, you know what I mean? What happened, and I keep doing that. She replied to me again in stories, you know what I mean? And direct messages in stories, you know what I mean? She showed that she liked me and everything. I wait for another, you could say, 4 days, something like that, and I started talking to her, you know what I mean? In vocals, you know what I mean? Talking about anything, like for example how I grew up or something, you know what I mean? Or you know what I mean, what turns me on, what turns me off, something like that, you know what I mean? And talking. And she doesn't respond to me directly, just stories. So I keep doing that, and until she fall in love with me. And me, I was so happy, you know what I mean, to achieve that. I was so happy. When that's happened, I started thinking about my dream girls when I was young, the girls that I was watching and just dreaming that, yeah, maybe one day, not being with her, but one day I will, you know what I mean, see her in front of me in some place or something, you know what I mean, talk to her, or I don't know, you know what I mean, I just dream about, you know what I mean, just being in touch with that girl or something, you know what I mean, when you were young, you know what I mean, got me, what I mean. By the way, me, I had never dreamed, you know what I mean, to be with some famous girl or something. I had never had that dream to be with famous girl, like one day, no. But just you like someone when you were young, you like someone. So my dream girl was Maria Sharapova, the tennis player, the Russian tennis player, Maria Sharapova. She was my dream girl, the girl that me, when I was young, I was watching her, because me, I'm fan of tennis, I love tennis, and I was watching her, you know what I mean. You got me, and I like her. She's so fucking beautiful and sexy, and she's my type, you know what I mean. So yeah, I told myself, if Olga Smirchuk, she didn't need to respond to me directly, Maria Sharapova, she will do the same thing. She will not respond to me directly, you know what I mean, but she will respond to me indirectly, you know what I mean. She will send me some messages indirectly, you know what I mean, because, you know, Maria Sharapova, she's famous, you know what I mean. So before Olga Smirchuk, me, I didn't think about, oh, famous girl, she will respond to you in a message, you know what I mean. So the idea, it's not something I think about, you know what I mean. You got me? I mean, something, it's not in your head, you know what I mean, you're not thinking about. So yeah, you know what I mean, because she's famous, she will not respond to you, you know what I mean. She received many messages, you know what I mean, got me, thousands of messages and so on, you know what I mean. So she will not respond to you, you know what I mean. But since, you know what I mean, Olga, she listened to me, you know what I mean, you got me, you know what I mean, she listened to me, and she didn't reply to me, you know what I mean. Maria, she could do the same thing. She could listen to me and doesn't reply to me, you know what I mean. In direct messages, I mean. Direct, she doesn't need to reply to me directly, you know what I mean, because she's famous and so on. So she will reply to me indirectly, you know what I mean, indirectly, you know what I mean, because, you know what I mean, because the girls, you know what I mean, I want to add something, you know what I mean. There is the idea of they're famous. I mean, Maria, she's famous, so on. So those girls, I mean, like for example, the girls that I will talk about, like Maria, Taylor Swift, and so on, they're famous. But also you have to put something in your mind that there is the idea of the ego, you know what I mean. The girl, she's famous, you know what I mean, she's too much famous, you know what I mean. The idea of showing you that she see your messages, you know what I mean, and to respond to you, that her ego will stop her, you know what I mean. Ego, you know what I mean, because you're not in her level, you know what I mean. You got me, what I mean, you're not in her level, you know what I mean. Especially when you approach her in a way that you want something romantic, not like a fan. You know what I mean? If you're a fan, she could like tell you something. You know what I mean? Probably, you know what I mean? But me, I talk to them like romantically, so to respond to you, it's something, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Very difficult to happen, you know what I mean? So the idea comes to me like, yeah, talk to, you know what I mean, Maria. You know what I mean? Talk to Maria. So what happened is I talked to her. The same thing. I sent her vocals introducing myself. Now guess what happened? Guess what happened? She responded to me in stories. You know what I mean? That's what happened. Maria Sharapova, she responded to me in stories. You know what I mean? So that's what happened, and me, I like it. It's to me like, oh, what the fuck? You know what I mean? I can't believe this. You know what I mean? I was so happy, and I like it. And put something in your mind. You have to just, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Always, you know what I mean? while you're analyzing this, you're aware of this. You should be aware of this. That me, I do seduction. You know what I mean? As I said, me, I'm coach of seduction. You know what I mean? So when I talk in those vocals, you know what I mean, I do seduction. You know what I mean? So what happened is Maria Sharapova, she responded to me in stories and directly. You know what I mean? So that's what happened. And me, what I did next is following the famous girls that I like. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Following the famous girls that I like. So what I did, I followed Dakota Johnson. I followed Kendall Jenner, Miley Cyrus. I followed in that time because there's some girls that I add later. You know what I mean? You catch me? You know what I mean? And there's some girls that Shakira. I followed Shakira. You know what I mean? There's some girls that I didn't follow in the beginning. I followed later. You know what I mean? I followed Shakira. You know what I mean? You catch me? I followed Inna. You know what I mean? Inna. I followed Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? I followed Taylor Swift. I followed, you know what I mean, those girls, you know what I mean? That's me, I like, you know what I mean? In the beginning, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? I followed those girls. Let me think about some other girls. I followed some Turkish girls like Eve Sin, you know what I mean? Eve Sin. She's a model, you know what I mean? Catch me, she's a model. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I followed Avril Lavigne. You know what I mean? Avril Lavigne, I followed her. Yeah. Chiara Ferrani. You know what I mean? I followed Chiara Ferrani. I followed Georgina. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So those the girls that I followed, you know what I mean? In Instagram. You know what I mean? So in the beginning it started with Olga in Facebook. Suddenly now Sharapova, Instagram, and so on, the other girls. So those the girls that yeah, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about if I forget some girl. You know what I mean? Those the girls that I started with, you know what I mean? You catch me, what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Those the girls, you know what I mean? And later I will follow some other girls like Kim Kardashian. Later, you know what I mean? So later means after 1 year. You know what I mean? So after I followed those girls, so 1 year after that, Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton, Dua Lipa, Valentina Ferrani, Shelbia, she's Yael Shelbia, she's a model, you know what I mean? She's a model. You know what I mean? Yeah, Khloe Kardashian, Jennifer Lopez, you know what I mean? You got me, you know what I mean? Jennifer Lopez. So many girls, you know what I mean? Many girls I followed, you know what I mean? So in this channel, you know what I mean? I do videos, shows, the interaction with those girls, you know what I mean? So you could just, you know what I mean, see those girls in those videos. Nora Fatchi, for example, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Nora Fatchi. Sabrina Carpenter, you know what I mean? But later, you know what I mean? Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah. Mikaela Shiffrin. This is a girl that I followed her in the beginning. You know what I mean? She's athlete, you know what I mean? You catch me? She's athlete. Mikaela Shiffrin. You know what I mean? I followed her in the beginning, you know what I mean? Alexandra Daddario. I followed her in the beginning, you know what I mean? Those two girls, they don't belong to the girls that they come after. No. Alexandra Daddario. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, those you know what I mean? Those the girls that I follow, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know what I mean? So that's how things, you know what I mean, happened. So let me continue. I follow them, you know what I mean? So I followed Kendall Jenner, Dakota, and so on. And I started talking to them, you know what I mean? Margot Robbie, also. I followed her, you know what I mean? Now, thinking about the girls, and they come. Margot Robbie. I followed her, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know what I mean? So those girls, I talk to them in vocals. They don't do scene to my missus, you know what I mean? You got me, what I mean? So when I discuss this with my friends, we analyze it in a way that we think that they see the missus in invitation, you know what I mean? You see, there is an Instagram invitation, invitation of missus, you know what I mean? When you send missus in the beginning, the missus come as invitation. So if someone will keep sending messages, you know what I mean? You catch me? You will see, you know what I mean? You catch me? I mean, you will see him in invitation, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So the idea here is, some people, they could, you know what I mean, start thinking about how they see your message when you send the message, how they see your message, and they receive thousands of messages, you know what I mean? Plenty of messages they receive. How can they see your messages, you know what I mean? It's very difficult. In just a second, they could receive, you know what I mean, thousand or something, or more. You know what I mean? So, you got me, they receive many messages. So how can they see your messages? The idea here is, when you keep sending, you know what I mean? When you keep sending, you know what I mean? Because those girls, they see they're always grabbing their phone. When you keep sending, you are always first, you know what I mean? And your name is repeated, you know what I mean? So the idea is, you keep sending, she sees the same name repeated, you know what I mean? So the names, the other names, they change. Jack, Ronnie, this, but a name in that time, Zachariah, is repeated, you know what I mean? Repeated all the time, is repeated. So it's like you're stubborn, it's like you are persistent, you know what I mean? And you keep sending. So that's what happened. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So the idea is, if you will send a message and you will just stop, then, you know what I mean, she will not see your message. You know what I mean? But since you keep sending, it's like there is only you. Because the other people, yeah, probably she see some messages, but they change and she doesn't see them. She see the guy that he's not changing. You see this? There is thousands of people, they sending her, they change, but one, he doesn't change. So it's like there is only you, she see, you see? So that's the thing, and that's what happened. And yeah, you know what I mean? So that's what happened, and I keep sending him vocals, as I said, talking about what I like in movies, what I like in this, what I like in this. You know what I mean? I wait for a week and talk to the other girl, and give her a week, talk to other girl, and give her a week. I give them week of space and talking to this girl, from this girl to another girl, and that's what I did. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, it's too much. I was talking, and they didn't know, the girls, they didn't know that I'm talking to all of them. You know what I mean? In the beginning they didn't know. You know what I mean? But after a while, they will discover. You know what I mean? So for example, yeah, Lady Gaga, she was also, I was talking also to Lady Gaga. You know what I mean? Lady Gaga, I was talking to her also. So yeah, you know what I mean? She was in the beginning, you know what I mean? The girl that I choose her from the beginning, you know what I mean? So what happened is, you know what I mean? So I was talking to all of them, talking to them, and suddenly a girl, she will meet a girl in some event, and she will tell her there is a guy I like, blah 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 blah, and they will know, oh, the same guy, he's talking to me too. Oh, and they will discover that there is plenty of girls it's like, you know what I mean, it's like a crew, many girls, you know what I mean, many girls, I'm talking to them, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, and yeah, you know what I mean, and that's what happened, and they will discover themselves, and suddenly that's it. Anything I say to the girl, she knows the other girl, you know what I mean. So when the love grows, that's in 2021, you know what I mean. So it started in 2020, 2021. What will happen is, so now, so that people, they understand what's happening, they interact with me in stories and publications, you know what I mean, stories and publications, got me? So the stories and publications, she's talking about something, and she's sending a direct message about something that I talked to her about, you know what I mean, got me? Or something I did, or something she feels she wants me to know, or anything, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you got me? That's the thing. There is a girl also, she's Moroccan, Kauthar Bamou, she's famous. Also Fatih Jamali, those Nancy Ajram. There is some Arabic, Moroccan girls, you know what I mean, got me? What I mean, those girls also. So yeah, you know what I mean. So I was talking to all of them, and suddenly the love will grow. They interact with me, you know what I mean, in stories, publication, and suddenly the love will grow. What will happen is, camera will get added, a camera, you know what I mean. So what's happened is, they can see me, you know what I mean, what I'm doing, you know what I mean, they can see me, what I'm doing. So it's like this guy that he's trying to seduce us, or we love him. Who is this guy? Where he live? With who he live? We want to know his family, what he's doing in his life, you know what I mean. You got everything, because the girl now, she's thinking about the future with you, you know what I mean. She's thinking about the future with you, you know what I mean. So she wants to know, you know what I mean, things about you, you know what I mean. So especially when she knows that you are a stranger, you are Moroccan, you know what I mean. She doesn't know, you know what I mean. She's like, yeah, she's curious. I want to know things about you. So what happened? The camera, they start watching me, you know what I mean. Those famous girls, all of them, they watch me, you know what I mean. And me, how I know? It's the stories, you know what I mean. So for example, let's say I'm sitting here and I'm drinking Rockstar. If a girl, she will post a story giving or sending a message about drink and Rockstar, this Rockstar is pink, for example, drink, pink, drink, Rockstar or something, and she's sent me another, you know what I mean. There's many messages there that she's talking about me. Now I would think, how she knows that me, I'm sitting and drinking. So if it happened once, we can say that it's coincidence. But if it happens many times, now you're drinking, now you're watching a soccer match in the cafe, now, and she's talking about that, or you're watching a movie in your phone, and she's talking about, now you know that they're watching you. And that's what happened, and suddenly I discover that they're watching me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what happened. So they were watching me, and me, I kept talking to them from time to time in Instagram, and suddenly something will happen in Instagram later, is that you can't keep talking, you know what I mean. You can't keep talking like in Instagram. You have to send invitation message and wait for the person that you send him the invitation, wait for him to accept you, then you can talk to him. that's like you know what I mean, something they do, update, you know what I mean, to Instagram. Something new happened in Instagram in that time. Now it's not new, but in that time it was something, because before, in the beginning, when I came in 2020, no, you can send, you know what I mean, a message, you know what I mean, you could just keep sending messages over and over, you know what I mean, to any famous girl. But now, no, you know what I mean, you got me. But luckily, you know what I mean, I was lucky, you know what I mean. What happened is I start talking to them in my phone, because they're watching everything I do. So I do video and I talk to them in my phone, and I start doing videos, you know what I mean, you catch me. But I discover later that, yeah, there is you could find a way, like Instagram in Samsung, you know what I mean, in not in iPhone, you know what I mean. You could use some older version of Instagram. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's, you know what I mean, what I discover, and now I can talk to them, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Android, there is that, you know what I mean. Not in iPhone and Android, there is that function, you know what I mean. You got me, you know what I mean. So you could talk to them over and over in messages, you know what I mean, like before, like in the past, you know what I mean. So yeah, I was talking to them in video, because I can't talk in messages, you know what I mean, in Instagram. So I was talking to them in my phone. If I want to say something, I write it in my phone in some place, because now they're watching everything. As I said, there is a camera, they're watching my life, they're watching everything, you know what I mean. You got me, you know what I mean, they're watching everything, you know what I mean. So that's what happened. And yeah, you know what I mean. So I start talking to them in video, and you could see those videos in this channel, like Jesus Stories. You could say Jesus Stories Taylor Swift, Jesus Stories Dua Lipa. What is this? That's what I do, talking to them, you know what I mean. From time to time, talking to them, because that's part of the relationship, you know what I mean. Because she loves you, the girl, she wants to see you, you know what I mean. She wants to see you, you know what I mean. And her, she can communicate with you through stories and publication, you know what I mean. Because she's famous and you're not famous like her, she can't send you direct message, she send you indirect message in stories. That's, now people understand what's happening here, you know what I mean. So yeah, you know what I mean. So me, I fall in love with some girls. I fall in love with them, you know what I mean. So yeah, there is plenty of girls, but your heart choose some girls. Like, for example, to me, the girl that I fall in love with her the most is Taylor Swift, you know what I mean. And after Taylor Swift, Paris Hilton, you know what I mean. There is Dua Lipa, you know what I mean. Also Kendall Jenner. Some girls that I choose, you know what I mean. I fall in love with them too much, but I keep interaction with them, all of them, because I love them, you know what I mean. You know what I mean, and I like them. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, now I'm remembering a girl, I forget her, Gigi Hadid. You know what I mean. Gigi Hadid also, I talked to her, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I talked to her, I followed her, and I talked to her. Gigi Hadid, you know what I mean. Also, I followed her, I talked to her, you know what I mean. So yeah, you know what I mean. So that's what happened. And I have to say something so important, you know what I mean. Those girls, they start sending me messages through their work, through their passion. So it's not only stories and publication, but also if she's a singer, she will send you a message in song, video clip, and the lyrics of a song. Or a movie if she's actress, you know what I mean. So I will give now some important, it's not secret, but it's something good, it's something, you know what I mean, it's something valuable about some things that happen in this story or in this journey, which I mean. So yeah, so let's start by the girl that I love her the most, Taylor Swift, you know what I mean. So Taylor Swift, she released Evermore album. The album, she released it after she meets me, you know what I mean. You got me? When I say meets me, I mean what I said. I mean talking to them through vocals and sending them messages, you know what I mean. So what happened is, in 2020, I was talking to her, you know what I mean, and yeah, you know what I mean, because there is love between me and her. She's sending me a message in Evermore, you know what I mean, Evermore. And the song Willow, you know what I mean, that song is about me, you know what I mean. The song Willow is about me, and Willow is yeah, you know what I mean, it has to do with nature. It's like a tree, you know what I mean. Willow, you know what I mean. And me, I was talking to her about some ideas, like for example the ideas of Bruce Lee. I mean, before she released the album, I was talking to her in vocals about Bruce Lee, you know what I mean. So me, I came in 2020, I introduced myself and I started talking about ideas, you know what I mean. Like for example, the idea of Bruce Lee, that he said like Willow is not like tree or bamboo. Willow is not like, let's say in simple word, willow is not like tree, you know what I mean. The tree, you know what I mean, can get broken, but willow, you go with the wind, you know what I mean. Catch me what I mean. But the tree, if there is some, you know what I mean, powerful wind, you know what I mean, because it's rigid, you know what I mean, it's fixed, it gets broken, you know what I mean, by the wind. But the willow, you adapt, you go with the wind, you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Catch me, it's flexible, you know what I mean. So Bruce Lee, he was talking about, and me, I was talking about those ideas, and you know what I mean, she applied to that, and she just, you know what I mean, expressed that, you know what I mean, that idea, you know what I mean. And the song, it was about how I interact with her, you know what I mean, the communication, you know what I mean, how we interact, and how that love, you know what I mean, is happening, how we interact, you know what I mean, how the interaction is happening, you know what I mean. Catch me, through stories and everything, you know what I mean. By the way, if someone, he want to ask the question, what is the meaning of Jesus stories? Jesus stories, Jesus, my name, and stories mean the way that I invent, and that way shows the interaction, the communication, you know what I mean. So we communicate through signs and through indirect messages, you know what I mean. And she just sent, you know what I mean, a message in story, you know what I mean, in publication, and she sent that message, you know what I mean. And you send her something, and she doesn't talk to you directly, you know what I mean. She doesn't talk to you directly. That's, you know what I mean, that's stories, you know what I mean. So stories comes from story. So story, it means your story, you know what I mean. I mean what you're telling her and everything. And means the other meaning, or the second meaning, the story of Instagram or story of Facebook, story that you post in Instagram, you know what I mean. So that's the idea. So Taylor Swift, yeah, you know what I mean. So Taylor Swift, she, yeah, you know what I mean, she did that song, and she was talking about me in that song, you know what I mean. And Evermore was about me, you know what I mean. The album was yeah, you know what I mean, was about me. Yeah, yeah, that's, you know what I mean, what I can say about That song, you know what I mean? So later she did another album about me too. The Tortured Poet Department. It's also about me. You know what I mean? So when she's talking, for example, the song Daddy, Daddy I Love Him. You know what I mean? Song is about me. You know what I mean? You guys know what I mean? Many songs there is about me, and Fortnite. You know what I mean? Fortnite is about me. You know what I mean? So I will do later some videos explain the songs that they were about me, like for example Fortnite, you know what I mean, Wello, songs, the meaning of the songs, you know what I mean, you got me, what I mean, so that people they understand. So yeah, the album was also about me, you know what I mean, you got me, what I mean. So everyone knows that in that album she's talking about someone he's not known and she's in love with him. In the Tortured Poet Department, that's me, you know what I mean? She's talking about me, you know what I mean? You got me, what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? So there is yeah, you know what I mean? There is many great fucking songs in that album, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? Down Bad, and yeah, there is Down Bad, yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? There is yeah, the Albatross, and there's some songs. There's some songs that that's absolutely powerful there, which I mean, and they're meaningful, and they're about me, which I mean. So that's about Taylor Swift, which I mean. Also Dua Lipa, Radical Optimism album is about me, you know what I mean. You got me, what I mean. The album is about me. Already Radical Optimism. The meaning of this two words, you know what I mean, describe something has to do with my personality, you know what I mean. Radical Optimism, you know what I mean. And she did many songs, like for example Falling Forever. The song is about me, you know what I mean. And the song Houdini, you know what I mean. Houdini, you know what I mean, song is about me. Houdini is talking about, you know what I mean, Jesus Stories guy, you know what I mean. You got me, what I mean. The guy that she loves and he's seducer and everything. Jesus Stories guy, that's, you know what I mean, Houdini, you know what I mean. And there is a line in the song, she's saying, do you practice what you preach, you know what I mean. But do you practice what you know what I mean, what you preach, something like that, you know what I mean. She's talking about, you know what I mean, she's showing the meaning of seduction, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, trying to seduce her, you know what I mean. That's the, you know what I mean, that song Houdini. Also Training Season is about falling in love with a fan. Who is that fan? Me, you know what I mean. Training Season, you know what I mean. Everyone watched the song and saw the video, listened to the song. A fan, you know what I mean. You fall in love with a fan. Someone is not known, someone is not famous. She's talking about me. Training Season, you know what I mean. Training Season, the song is about me too, you know what I mean. It's about me, and the message of the song is because of Taylor Swift, because me, I put Taylor Swift first, you know what I mean. Taylor Swift, I put her first. What I have with her is illusion, because me, I love Taylor Swift. So what I have with Dua Lipa is illusion, you know what I mean. So that's the message. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, that's the message, you know what I mean. And Miley Cyrus, she did also songs about me, you know what I mean. You got me, what I mean. So she did songs about me, like for example Flowers, it's about me, you know what I mean. So what inspired her, so what inspired her to write the song, you know what I mean, is me. You know what I mean? You got me? Because me, I try to change her. You know what I mean? I try to change her because she's doing fitness. You know what I mean? She's doing fitness. She's doing, you know what I mean? She's doing, you know what I mean? Sports and, you know what I mean? And she's acting masculine. You know what I mean? And me, I try to change her. And Flowers, you know what I mean? She's saying I love myself and so on. I mean, the message. So that's, you know what I mean? The song is about me. You know what I mean? And you will see her in the video. She's training, doing training in close to the pool. You know what I mean? Doing training. You know what I mean? So yeah, Flowers, Angels Like You, Miley Cyrus song. It's about me too. Angels Like You. You know what I mean? So that's you know what I mean? That's about that. And yeah, you know what I mean? So that's about what happened. There's also a song Love On, Selena Gomez, Love On. Also the song is about me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's some details. I will explain it in the song because I have to tell you some things later. I will say it. But Love On is about me. So, I mean, so that's about the girls and everything. That's what happened, and they did those songs, and they were interacting with me through songs, through what they're doing, and everything. You know what I mean? Yeah, me. What I did is I tried to find something to create a bound, more strong connection with those girls. So I gave them colors, and this is so important. You know what I mean? I gave them colors. So I gave Taylor Swift red color. You know what I mean? Got me? And what inspired me is her song Red. You know what I mean? So I gave Taylor Swift red color. I gave Paris Hilton pink color. You know what I mean? I gave Kendall Jenner black color. You know what I mean? I gave Miley Cyrus green color. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I gave who else? Who else? Yeah, Katy Perry. We didn't talk about her. Katy Perry. You know what I mean? Also, but she came late. You know what I mean? Katy Perry. I gave her yellow. You know what I mean? I gave her yellow color. You know what I mean? Dua Lipa, I gave her orange color. You know what I mean? So that's color of love. You know what I mean? Shows love. You know what I mean? Orange. Yeah. Who else? You know what I mean? Blue Sky, I gave it to Kautar Bamu. Golden color, I gave it to Shelbia. You know what I mean? Shelbia, you know what I mean? Golden color. Who else? Blue color, I gave it to Sabrina Carpenter. Gigi Hadid, I gave her green. You know what I mean? Gigi Hadid, I gave her green. What other colors? Brown, I gave it to Valentina. You know what I mean? Valentina, I gave, you know what I mean? Brown. You know what I mean? White color, it was changing. But now, you know what I mean? You got me now, and I'm talking in this video, and girls, they don't know. It's new, a new thing or update or something new. I will do later. You know what I mean? I will do just when, yeah, I will do the list and so on. The girls. White color, I gave it to Alizée. Alizée, she's French singer that I follow her from the beginning because I like her. I follow two French girls, Alizée and Laurie. Laurie, she's French singer. Alizée, she's French singer. She's so hot. She's beautiful. If someone doesn't know Alizée, check Alizée in YouTube. You know what I mean? She's absolutely hot and she has great fucking songs. Alizée. So now the color white is for Alizée. You know what I mean? Alizée. know what I mean? So those the colors, yeah, Jennifer Lopez, beige. I gave Jennifer Lopez beige, you know what I mean? Beige. So I didn't forget the colors. Those the colors. Yeah, you know what I mean? Those the important, you know what I mean? Colors. Yeah, you know what I mean? And yeah. And me, I talk many times in videos, and everyone will know the colors and everything about. And so I gave them the colors. Yeah, you know what I mean? And also fingers I gave to some girls. You know what I mean? Fingers symbolize love. If I would put a ring in some finger, you know what I mean? So that's her finger, it shows love. You know what I mean? That's to create love. So the girl, she will look at her hand, she will see you in that. You know what I mean? So this finger, you know what I mean? This finger, you know what I mean? This finger, Taylor Swift finger. You know what I mean? This finger, Taylor Swift finger. You see? The small, the skinny finger, the skinny, you know what I mean? Skinny, not this. Skinny finger, you know what I mean? Is Taylor Swift finger. This finger, there is ring in it, you know what I mean? There is ring. Dua Lipa finger, you know what I mean? This finger, but we do sometimes fuck you by that finger. It's Paris finger, you know what I mean? So it could be, you know what I mean, symbolizing sex or something. Yeah, it's Paris finger. This finger, you know what I mean? This finger is Miley Cyrus finger. This finger, I didn't give this finger to any girl. This finger is for Miley Cyrus, you know what I mean? So Miley Cyrus, Paris Hilton, Dua, Taylor Swift. Those, you know what I mean? Fingers that I gave the other. Yeah, that's about the fingers. Yeah, I forget important color. Yeah, because it's not no important color in this story. I forget. I gave it to a girl. Purple. I gave it to Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean? I gave purple to Kim Kardashian. That's the thing. You know what I mean? There is a story about purple. You know what I mean? If someone is asking about Maria Sharapova, I didn't give her a color. Why? Because Maria Sharapova, something happened in the beginning. After I followed the girl and everything, she blocked me from Instagram. You know what I mean? So I have in my official account, Instagram account, I have many girls. You know what I mean? And I can't interact with Maria Sharapova, so I should go to another account. And to me, it's very difficult for me to go to another account interaction with Maria Sharapova. So I forget about Maria Sharapova, and I kept interaction with all those girls. You know what I mean? And we were like a crew. You know what I mean? We're interaction. There is a camera, and we're interaction. I send them videos, talk to them, everything. You know what I mean? We were like a crew. So Maria Sharapova, I just, you know what I mean, stop. I don't interact with her because she blocked me. I can't find her in my official account. So she you know what I mean, she blocked me, and I didn't give her any color. You know what I mean? I didn't give her any color, Maria Sharapova. You know what I mean? So that's about Maria Sharapova. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's about Maria Sharapova. So that's about fingers. That's about Maria Sharapova. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's something about nature. I gave the tree to Taylor Swift. The tree symbolizes the love that I have with Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? The tree. Got me? So because everyone remember what I said about Willow. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That has to do with her song and, you know what I mean, the love and everything. So the tree is Taylor Swift, the stars, Miley Cyrus. You know what I mean? You could say not the river, like a lake. You know what I mean? Because Dua, she go there many times, swim there, like a lake. You know what I mean? That's Dua, the ocean, and I call it the ocean love. You know what I mean? Ocean love. Also Miley Cyrus. So Miley Cyrus, she has the stars and she has the ocean. You know what I mean? Dua Lipa, she has the moon. I gave her the moon. That shows love. You know what I mean? It shows love. The moon. And as I said, Taylor Swift, the tree. You know what I mean? The tree. You know what I mean? So that's about what I did. Yeah, you know what I mean? Got me. So that's what happened. And something happened. And now I want people to focus with me because something happened in this thing, something so important. You know what I mean? You got me. Something so important. You know what I mean? That happened is that Dua Lipa, she did something. She did something, and she did something so powerful and important. But I should tell you how it started in everything. I mean, this thing that Dua Lipa, she did. So me, because I'm coach of seduction, I asked Paris Hilton that I give her pink. As I said, the color of Paris Hilton is pink. Number 2 symbolize Paris Hilton because she's number 2 in love. You know what I mean? Catch what I mean? And she posts many times 1111. That's something has to do with love. Everyone knows the meaning of 1111. So 1111 is me. That guy, so her soulmate, me. That's Paris Hilton. You know what I mean? So I asked Paris Hilton to do something for me because me, I'm coach of seduction. I want to prove something. What is it then here? Me, I don't believe in red pill. You know what I mean? Red pill, I'm not red pill. You know what I mean? You got me? I believe in only 2 things. Seduction, persistence. That's it. Persistence and seduction. That's the thing that I believe. SMV and so on and those things. I don't believe in those things. You know what I mean? I'm not red pill. You know what I mean? And I want people to understand something. What happened here? I mean, what you're witnessing now. I mean, me making those famous girls falling in love is killing red pill, destroying red pill. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? I don't have SMV. You know what I mean? I don't have SMV. You know what I mean? Got me? Sexual market value. I don't have it. You know what I mean? Got me? You know what I mean? And the girls, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? They love me, you know what I mean? So you tell me Jesus and so on. No. In that time there is no Jesus. Something happened. I will talk about it later. You know what I mean? The idea of Jesus. In that time when I meet them in 2020, there is no Jesus. There is nothing. You know what I mean? There is nothing about Jesus. Nothing. So I'm just Moroccan, normal, poor guy. You know what I mean? That he's teaching seduction. You know what I mean? And he's making those girls fall in love. But they're so famous. So red pill is get destroyed. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So that's what happened. So I asked Paris Hilton to show to my Moroccan fans that she loved me. Why? So that they know that red pill is bullshit. And also the fans of red pill and the followers of red pill, so that they know that red pill is bullshit. So what I ask her? I ask her to wear kaftan Maghribi, kaftan, Moroccan kaftan. You know what I mean? Moroccan kaftan in purple. Why purple? There is something here happen. It's just detail, not that I did a color. I made my hair in a color purple. So in the beginning it was red. Yeah, that's important. I should say that has to do with love too. So that I connect with the girls. So I give them colors. So why not making your hair with some color of the girl that you love? So I choose, and because Tyler is first, I choose red, and I made my hair red. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know what I mean? That's in the beginning. After red, I choose purple, Kim Kardashian color, and I made my hair purple. You know what I mean? So I asked her to wear kaftan, Moroccan kaftan, in purple. You know what I mean? Catch me, what I mean? So that's what I ask her. Paris Hilton, why ask her? So that she proved that she loved me, and now we destroy Red Pill. I want my fans to believe in themselves and to understand that they can seduce any girl they want if they just learn two things: seduction, persistence. They have those two things, they will succeed. So that was my goal, and that's what happened. And Paris Hilton, what she did, she started wearing purple many times. That proves something. Purple, she keep repeating it, you know what I mean? And she showed how we do Moroccan laundry. She showed Moroccan laundry, and she did some clothes in colors that symbolize that and give a meaning, and she proved the point. You know what I mean? She did a picture, she showed Moroccan laundry, you know what I mean? You could say Arabic laundry, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? When they start doing women's, they do this, you know what I mean? And they do clothes like that, you know what I mean? And she did some colors, has to do with the colors of my channel that I teach seduction. Some colors like that, she symbolized, she proved a point, you know what I mean? She proved a point, Paris Hilton, and she did that. Dua Lipa, she did something bigger, so fucking powerful. In training season outfits, she did t-shirts and there is stars, you know what I mean? Stars, you know what I mean? The stars, it's you could say t-shirt. I will show the t-shirts in the end of the video. In circle, star, three stars, stars. Red, like, you know what I mean? Moroccan flag. She symbolizes Morocco. You know what I mean? Moroccan flag, you know what I mean? And she did the color that I gave her, orange, in the middle. So two red stars, and in the middle one star in orange. And orange is the color that I gave her, and that was powerful to prove that she loved me. You know what I mean? That was powerful. You know what I mean? Dua Lipa. And everyone, I mean the other girls, they start talking about the stars to prove that. All the girls, like for example Shakira, like for example Kim Kardashian, Kendall Jenner, all the girls, you know what I mean? All the girls, they start talking about the stars and the colors. The colors, you know what I mean? And everything to prove that they love me. You know what I mean? You catch me? So that was wait, I do something. Wait. So yeah, so everyone started, you know what I mean, showing signs of love, you know what I mean, the colors, you know what I mean, the ranking, they're talking about the ranking that I gave them, you know what I mean, the ranking, I do ranking, you know what I mean, or for example, the tree, you know what I mean, the tree that I gave Taylor Swift, you know what I mean, the tree, willow, the ocean, the stars, you know what I mean, the lake, you know what I mean, you got me, what I mean. So they start symbolizing, what I mean. I want people to see Katy Perry, for example, publication. That's in 2024 publication, what I mean. She's wearing pink, you know what I mean. And you know what I mean. She's doing the stars by her hands, you know what I mean, like this. And there's purple there, you know what I mean. You catch me? And she's symbolizing, you know what I mean. Symbolizing to you know what I mean, signs that I gave them, you know what I mean. So there is communication of signs, you know what I mean, here signs, you know what I mean, signs, they interact with me with signs, you know what I mean. Catch me, they interact with me through signs, you know what I mean. You catch me, what I mean. So that's what happened. And yeah, I proved the point, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So everyone started believing, or stop believing in red pill and start believing in monochrome pill. You know what I mean? They stop believing in red pill and start believing in monochrome pill. Monochrome pill is pill that I invent, you know what I mean? It's made of two things: seduction and persistence. Persistence, you know what I mean? So important, you know what I mean? So this quality, persistence, you can use her or use it, I mean, you can use it also while you're talking directly to a girl. She's sending you a message, you send her, she's sending you. Normal interaction. you could use, you know what I mean, persistence. It's so important, you know what I mean, persistence. It shows your personality. And seduction, two things. And yeah, people, they start believing in Moroccan pill, you know what I mean, and everything, you know what I mean. So that's what happened, and that's, you know what I mean, in regard the love, and the love strengthen, you know what I mean, catch me, what I mean. So something in regard the green, you know what I mean, green color, you know what I mean, green color that I gave Miley Cyrus. Green color, you know what I mean, means Moroccan Zakaria in that time. The Moroccan Zakaria, that's the meaning of Gri. You know what I mean? The meaning of Gri, Moroccan Zakaria. You know what I mean? Moroccan Zakaria. You know what I mean? That's the message. That's the meaning of Gri. You know what I mean? So that's about that. You know what I mean? You catch me? What I mean? So yeah, that's what happened. Later I will give the meaning of colors, you know what I mean, but I should say that in context, you know what I mean. But I want people to remember Gri because it's so important, you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Gri, it's so important, you know what I mean. That I gave Miley Cyrus. It means I gave it me a meaning that it's me, the Moroccan Zakaria, you know what I mean. Got me? That will turn out to be Jesus, you know what I mean. So that's the thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And if someone is curious why Moroccan, why Gri has to do with Moroccan, because in the beginning I gave it to a girl, she's Moroccan, Fashi Jamali, but essentially as foundation, Miley Cyrus, Gri, Miley Cyrus, but because in the beginning it was Moroccan, that's why, you know what I mean, the girls, when they wear it, they mean me, Gri, you know what I mean, me, the Moroccan Zakaria, you know what I mean. So that's about that, you know what I mean. So that's about that, and something happened. Yeah, now I will tell people something. So after I proved the case of Moroccan pill and I destroyed red pill. لا راه كنسجل دابا واحد الفيديو، خلعتيني يا صاحبي، خلعتيني يا صاحبي.
صاحبك تهضر معاه.
لا كنسجل بلاتي.
سير اخويا سجل.
So yeah, let's continue, you know what I mean. Something happened absolutely powerful, you know what I mean. Absolutely powerful, something happened, you know what I mean. It has to do with Jesus, you know what I mean. So after I proved the case and everything, and yeah, you know what I mean, we destroyed red pill and everything, and after that, you know what I mean, something happened. Me, I'm fan of Real Madrid team, you know what I mean. I love Real Madrid, and I watch Real Madrid. I found some things, you know what I mean. You catch me? I found some things in regard to Real Madrid. You tell me, what do you mean? I mean the colors, the purple that they have. They have purple, they have black, they have white. Some things, you know what I mean, and also the players that they play there, and the titles and the finals in Champions League, and the titles and the matches, you know what I mean, that they play in Champions League, and some things, you know what I mean, what happened in Madrid, and also what happened in regard the World Cup. Morocco reached the semi-final. Morocco, you know what I mean. So semi-final, we reached it in 2022 Qatar, you know what I mean, Qatar World Cup. And there is a song, Taylor Swift 22, you know what I mean, 22 Taylor Swift song. And I found some things, so relate now, I'm telling you to relate things. I mean, Taylor Swift 22, the World Cup, what happened in the World Cup in regard Morocco, some details there. I will do other videos, you know what I mean, other videos to talk about, you know what I mean, some signs, you know what I mean, in regard teams, you know what I mean, soccer, so on. Some things that I found in regard some the big important things, you know what I mean, what is the signs there. So Taylor Swift 22, you know what I mean, 22 song, I mean song, name of it 22, and also some things in regard Taylor Swift albums and songs, you know what I mean. I did some calculation there, like for example when she born, her birthday when she born, and me when I born, my birthday, and I did some calculation there, and I found some fascinating things there. You know what I mean? Got me some fascinating things there. Got me what I mean? So that's the thing here, and I was shocked with those signs that I discover in the world. It's like a science. The same way that me, I communicate with those girls, same way I communicate with them through signs and direct. You know what I mean? They sent me and direct. I found signs later. You know what I mean? Catch me. In the future, signs of the universe shows that there is something about me. I didn't know anything, Jesus or no, but there is something about me. You know what I mean? There is something about me. That's what I felt. You know what I mean? And suddenly, when I discovered in regard to soccer, Taylor Swift, songs and everything, I start realizing some things, like for example the songs of Miley Cyrus. So everything in regard the colors, like orange, Dua Lipa, the green, the Moroccan Zachary that I gave to Miley Cyrus, red color, pink that I gave to Paris Hilton, everything. I start finding messages in their songs that they did in the past. Their songs, for example, Miley Cyrus, it's in the 2000 something. You know what I mean? It's in the past. You know what I mean? Not when I meet her. Before her old song, like for example, Who Owns My Heart and Wrecking Ball, and some songs that I didn't meet her in that time. I didn't know her. You know what I mean? I found some things. You know what I mean? Some things in the universe. Like I told you, I mean, those things, like their songs and everything, they're giving me signs about me. Like for example, the stars that I give Dua, I found. You know what I mean? It's before. It's there in their songs before. The colors. You know what I mean? In regard what I give in nature, well, for example, things before. You know what I mean? Like for example, Love Story, that song. You know what I mean? That song, it's in the past. You know what I mean? It's old, that song. You know what I mean? But she's talking about me. I'm her love story. That song, Love Story, is talking about me. You know what I mean? Me, I'm her love story. You know what I mean? Got me. So I found things there. You know what I mean? And I was shocked. You know what I mean? And I found things also in movies. You know what I mean? Movies, like for example, Titanic. Titanic, it's about me. You know what I mean? You got Titanic, it's about me. You know what I mean? Also, you know what I mean? The Lake House, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. You know what I mean? Also, it's about me. You know what I mean? You find the colors. Watch those movies. You know what I mean? Watch Terminator. It's about me. You know what I mean? Even my birthday. You know what I mean? Me, I was born on 27 May 1993. 1993. I was born. You know what I mean? You catch me? And yeah, you know what I mean? So that's my birth. So Terminator. So, Slivin lucky number. Slivin lucky number. You know what I mean? Even the word Slivin, that Paris, she's, you know what I mean? Paris is known by Slivin. You know what I mean? You catch me? But Slivin is written in other way, in Slivin lucky number, in other way. So there we find something there in regard in the movie has to do with Paris. In the movie, Slivin lucky number. So there is some similarity in pronunciation, some letters. You know what I mean? So we found something there. Slivin lucky number. Harry Potter. You see something in his forehead? That's Z. Sad. Me, my name is Zacharias. You see something in his forehead. Harry Potter. You know what I mean? The movie is talking also about me. Yeah. What other movie? Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is also talking about me. So we found, just watch The Godfather, watch the movies that are the iconic movies, like The Godfather. You'll find things, you know what I mean? You'll find things there. You know what I mean? The iconic movies, you'll find things there that has to do with the colors that I gave, the stars, me, you know what I mean? The love that is happening there, something. You know what I mean? And there's something has to do with Tyler and me, signs like that. You know what I mean? I have to mention something I forget in regard to Tyler. Tyler, there is a song, her song, named "Invisible Strength." Me, I gave that description or meaning, invisible strength, these two words, about our love. From the beginning, I told her that. I told her there is some invisible strength directed our love, guiding our love, protecting our love, invisible strength. I told her that, you know what I mean? And I took the name from her song. When I meet her, I mean after, let's say, you could say 6 months or 1 year, something like that, I told her that, you know what I mean? So, Taylor Swift, there's some, you know what I mean? And that's what, it's like there is something guiding. That's what we discover. There is something here. Tell me there is something about me. So that's what I discover in regard to science, everything. You know what I mean? So I start seeing the movies, watching the movies, the World Cup, what happened, everything, calculating things, the numbers and everything. I found, you know what I mean? Something. Even the song of Red One, you know what I mean? His name, his real name, Nadil Khayyat. Nadil Khayyat. You know what I mean? Nadil Khayyat. Khayyat comes from strength. Khayyat is strength. Khayyat is strength. Red One. You know what I mean? Red One. That's his name. And Hala Madrid is a song that he did. Red One. You know what I mean? Hala Madrid. You know what I mean? And me, I love Madrid. You know what I mean? So things that I love, because me, I'm Jesus, and people, they should know the things that me, I love. So I love tennis, I love chess, I love Real Madrid. You know what I mean? So those are the things that me I like. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I like, you know what I mean, love. You could say seduction. You know what I mean? So me, I do seduction. That's not coincidence that I do seduction, because Jesus is about love. From the beginning, I was doing seduction. So that's the thing. You know what I mean? So what happened after the famous girls, they discover those signs, there's something there, they discover by themselves that me, I'm Jesus. All those famous girls, now they know that me, I'm Jesus. They discover it, you know what I mean? They discover it, that me, I'm Jesus. And it was question of, you are Jesus of Christianity or Jesus of Islam? That was question, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And me, I believe that I'm Jesus of Islam. You know what I mean? You got me? What I mean? It's Jesus is back. Jesus is back. You know what I mean? Because in Islam there are stories that Jesus will back and so on. And in this video, I will not talk about the evidence that proves that me, I'm Jesus. I will not talk about that. The evidence that proves that me, I'm Jesus of Islam, not Jesus of Christianity, I will not talk about that. I will talk about that later in some other video. But in this video, I want to just talk about this story, I mean my story, and talking about, you know what I mean, when I discovered that I am Jesus and everything, what happened, you know what I mean? So what I discover is those colors have meaning. So for example, black color has to do with power. Black means the horse. The horse, you know what I mean? You guys know what I mean? There is a song of Dua Lipa, Falling Forever, shows that idea of the circle. You know what I mean? The circle, it's like you know what I mean? Circle that she didn't mean anything, but we find that circle has meaning, like eternity, forever, you know what I mean? And things keep repeating, like for example the morning, the night, winter, autumn, summer, and so on, you know what I mean? Seasons, and things keep repeating and so on. And you know what I mean? There is some things that yeah, as I said, that you know what I mean, I discover. So in regard to black, it's about power and not giving up. So why I mentioned falling forever or circle, because it shows that meaning of you keep going, because the circle, it's always you keep moving, you keep just going, you know what I mean? So black, it shows power, you know what I mean? You don't give up, like you are like a horse, you don't give up, power, you know what I mean? You just keep going, and that's what I did from 2020 and until now. We're still talking. So that's the meaning of it. Like I was from 2020 trying, I was persistent, like trying to seduce them, and they don't send me any direct messages, and I was talking to them in vocals and videos, you know what I mean? So that's about black. Black, I gave it to Kendall Jenner, as I said. There is white color, means religion. White color means religion. You know what I mean? White color means religion. Jesus, white color. You know what I mean? And as I said, I gave it to Alizé. Blue color means sex. Blue and yellow means sex. You know what I mean? Sex. Blue and yellow, both means sex. I gave me those meanings to the colors. What other color? Pink. Pink, I gave it to Paris Hilton, number 2. And number 2 has to do with religion. So pink means also Jesus, means religion, like white. You know what I mean? So pink means religion, because number 2 shows God creation. God is one. He's not made of, he's not, I know that Christianity, they believe he's incarnated. You know what I mean? He's incarnated, you know what I mean? So the idea here is, as me, I'm talking about me. I believe that God is not incarnated and God is one. You know what I mean? God is one. He's not incarnated or anything. He's one. And number 2 shows his creation, because he's the only one that is not made of 2 things. You know what I mean? Got me what I mean? You got me what I mean? So the idea here is God is not made of two things or 2 parts or something. You know what I mean? So he's one. But anything else is made of 2 or more. You know what I mean? Catch me what I mean? And we found some things, like for example the song of Shane Connor. Yeah, the song Nothing Compares to You. Nothing compared to you. That song, Nothing Compared to You. She become Muslim, you know what I mean? That singer. We find some things there in regard, because nothing compare and to you. You know what I mean? And she's talking, you know what I mean? The title of the song, there is number 2, and we find some things in the songs and many things which I mean symbolize that. So number 2 has to do with religion, and you know what I mean? And pink, I give it to Paris Hilton, so pink shows that, you know what I mean? So that's about pink. Red shows love, you know what I mean? So I didn't give any meaning to red, but love, you know what I mean? Red is love, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? And what other colors? Green, the Moroccan guy, yeah, green because Gigi Hadid, you know what I mean? Gigi Hadid, she's, you could say she's Palestinian. She has original of Palestine. She has to do with Palestine too. You know what I mean? Yeah, she's American, but also she has to do with Palestine. So green has to do with Islam. You know what I mean? Islam, green. And also nature. You know what I mean? Islam and nature. So that's about the colors. Yeah, I didn't forget some colors. Yeah, that's about the colors. You know what I mean? I mean the meaning of them. There is some colors I didn't give any meaning, but those the colors that, yeah, black and white means me. Black is power. The white is the religion. So Taylor Swift, Love Story song, you'll find the guy is wearing black and white. The guy that she did in the video clip, black and white from the beginning, black and white. You know what I mean? Black and white. You know what I mean? Black is power and white is religion. You know what I mean? And black and white, you know what I mean? Me, I did monochrome pill made of two things: persistence and seduction. And I choose those two colors, black and white. You know what I mean? You got me? What I mean? Black and white. You know what I mean? Black and monochrome pale, black and white. You know what I mean? I did that before. You know what I mean? Before. Black and white has meaning before. You know what I mean? When I choose monochrome pale, I did black and white. And we find black and white in the songs of Miley Cyrus, of Taylor Swift, of, you know what I mean? We find black and white many times. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So both of them, when they're mixed, black and white, it means me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Jesus. You know what I mean? Jesus. So that's about the colors. You know what I mean? That's about the colors. Yeah. You know what I mean? I didn't forget things here, and that's about the meanings of. That's what happened, and yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I want people to know. And now the girls, their interaction with me. You know what I mean? Their interaction with me in their stories, their publications, and me, I show that, you know what I mean, in videos, I show that, you know what I mean, stories and videos, I mean publications, sometimes interviews, also their products, you know what I mean, so everything, you know what I mean. And now I followed many girls, new girls, that's like for example Drew Barrymore, she's new. There's some girls that I follow lately, you know what I mean. There's some girls that I didn't give them colors, you know what I mean, and I do from time to time ranking list, like the number, the ranking list of the girls, like this is number, and it changed. But as foundation, there is ranking, like Taylor Swift, she's number 1, and Paris Hilton, she's number 2. You know what I mean? And Dua Lipa and Miley Cyrus, you know what I mean? You got me? Those girls are in top 2. You know what I mean? But in the real world, I try to do ranking because there's many girls, like for example Valentina, like Kim Kardashian, like, so I do, you know what I mean, I do you know what I mean, all lists, you know what I mean, lists monthly, or sometimes after 2 months, sometimes, you know what I mean, I do lists like this girl, she's number 1 now she's number 2, this girl, based on their action and based on the way they interact with me, you know what I mean. You catch me? And also how they look and everything, you know what I mean. I should mention something about Maria Sharapova, and I will show that in the end of the video. See that Maria Sharapova, she came to Morocco, Agafay, you know what I mean, in January 2024. She came in the 1st of January 2024. She came to Agafay, the desert, Morocco, you know what I mean. By the way, me, I belong to the desert, you know what I mean. Desert. My ethnicity is the desert. In Morocco, desert, you know what I mean. You got me, you know what I mean. Yeah, I was many times relating the deserts because Prophet Muhammad, he was in the desert in Saudi Arabia, in the desert, you know what I mean. That's a message too, but we'll not talk about that. But I want people just to be aware of that. And the desert, you know what I mean. She came, why she came to Agafay before Jesus. She came before Jesus, before we know that's me, I'm Jesus. Before she came to meet me, you know what I mean. You got me, what I mean. She came to meet me, you know what I mean. So that she come there, and me, I come to her and I meet her, you know what I mean. She came there to Agafay, the desert, Morocco, you know what I mean. So that's what I want to say. Yeah, you know what I mean. Those are the important things about my story. You know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. And yeah, probably I could forget some things, but that's the important thing. And that's what happened. You know what I mean. And I want people to follow the stories of the girls and publications of the girls, to see the interaction, everything, the colors and the meanings and everything, and how they interact with me. You know what I mean. That's about my story. And in the next video or other videos, I will explain other things, like everything, like evidence about that me I'm Jesus. You know what I mean? And everything. Now the famous girls, they know that I'm Jesus. You know what I mean? They know. You know what I mean? After the signs in the universe and everything, they know that I'm Jesus. You know what I mean? They're certain. Yeah, you know what I mean? They know, and sometimes, you know what I mean? They send messages about that. You know what I mean? Yeah, in stories and everything. You catch me? What I mean? So that's about that, and I will talk about other thing, to explain other thing, and also I will keep showing the interaction between those girls in other videos. Just take care, everyone.